We are joined now by Josh Heupel, Tennessee coach, and you just got back in the room here in your office, but your SID Bill Martin came in. There was some Justin Bieber playing, and is that part of your playlist, or did someone hijacked your playlist?
My daughter might have hijacked the list. She came to practice today, and her and my wife, my dog might have been out there too, or I should say our dog. She might have been hitting some Taylor Swift music, and it transitioned over to Bieber.
Okay, good. That's the Spotify algorithm. That's not your taste. I appreciate that. We've now cleared that up. Let's talk about nationals.
Well, listen, hey, when you're a dad of a daughter, you listen to whatever she's wanting to play.
I got a 12-year-old, and I can assure you that is the truth. So let's talk a little National Signing Day. You got some new Vols, but it's interesting because some of those guys are there and with you, like Mike Matthews and Boo Carter, the receivers, are already practicing with you guys.
Yeah, we ended up bringing in 27 guys so far. Obviously, in today's landscape, it's an ever ongoing process with your roster and evaluations. But we got 10 guys that are already here for bowl practice. We'll end up with 15 high school mid-year enrollees. It's been a lot of fun. Those guys have gotten a ton of work. I think they're maybe on day 4, day 5 already of being out on the grass with us, and it's been great to see those guys. It's a highly skilled group. You mentioned a couple of those guys that are elite players. Those guys have already been making plays out there with us.
I was going to say, when Mike committed to you guys, it was a very big deal, but what's it like now getting to see him against your current players who you know what they can do? Does it help you kind of figure out what you can do with those young guys as you get them into their first spring practice?
Yeah, it's almost like another spring ball. By the time that we leave here, break for Christmas break, and then get back to Orlando, those guys have been in one-on-ones. They've had an opportunity to go out there and compete with some of our guys, seen them make plays, and you find out, what their physical attributes are as much as anything. But you also find out some things just fundamentally where you got to help them grow before we get back out there in March for spring ball.
And so it's not just the high school guys coming in, because you've also got people coming in from the transfer portal as well. Holden Stays, the Notre Dame tight end transfer. You got him. What have you seen from him so far?
Yeah, he actually just got to campus today. So tomorrow will be our first day out on the field with him. We're really excited about him. We're losing 2 really good tight ends that are running out of eligibility that will be playing at the next level. We have a good young tight end here on campus in Ethan Davis, but it's a room that we knew that we had to, in some ways, kind of patch that roster spot. And we're really excited about him being here with us. You can see on the film against high-level competition, him out there making plays. He's got length and athleticism to be a real threat in the pass game, dynamic with the ball in his hands after the catch, the ability to use his body and create separation and win some one-on-ones. But he's also got the ability to do everything in the run game when he's in the core that helps us go play the way that we need to play.
So you've got the guys who actually run out of eligibility. That still happens in the state.
I feel like that's just starting to happen. Yeah.
How do you handle the math on that when you're trying to fill out this roster and you're talking to people in the transfer portal, you're recruiting high school guys 2 and 3 years out? How do you handle that math?
Yeah, you got to understand that you have a plan of where you think your roster is going to be at, some things that you need to do. High school recruiting is still uber important. You got to bring in guys that you can develop, physically and fundamentally, and also the culture of your locker room and in your program. I think that's still extremely important. But you also know that on a minute's notice, you might lose a guy. Based on who you have on your roster, you're projecting, where you think guys will be at by the time you get to training camp. And if you feel like there's a veteran guy that fits the culture of who and what your program's about, that can also bring some playmaking ability or be a dominant player at the line of scrimmage, you got to make sure that you're covering your bases and making your roster as strong as it can be before you get to next fall.
How have you managed to maintain that culture? Because you guys do seem to still be having a lot of fun. That's one thing I noticed when I visited with you guys is players are always around the offices and wanting to hang out. How do you encourage that sort of atmosphere? And are you looking for guys out of high school who kind of fit in that, or do you want them to see that and say, okay, that's something I want to be part of?
Yeah, I think, it's got to be the basis of who you are inside of your building. You got to have like-minded coaches. You got to create a staff dynamic where everybody's on the same team. You got to have fun as a staff too. That's got to be a part of your interactions with your players. You got to be intentional in creating that culture of, competing extremely hard, having the core principles of what you got to be a Tennessee Vol, but you got to create that dynamic, and you do that through your team activities, but it's also the energy that you got to have out on the practice field every single day, and the consistency of that, and the message that you deliver. We got a great staff here. We got great leadership inside of our locker room. As you go out and you start recruiting, that can be in the portal, that can be your high school recruiting. I do think it's important that you understand the type of people that you're bringing in, and do they fit that culture. And everybody's on a journey of becoming the man that they want to be in the player too. So you got to balance, where they're at, what they've been exposed to, how you feel like they have an opportunity to grow, and can, your staff and your players inside of that locker room help them develop extremely quickly.
Well, one thing I found interesting talking to coaches today, Josh, is that people have said over and over again, when you're recruiting these guys out of high school now, you have to make sure whether they want to come to your school or not, that the last time you talk, you end on a really good note, because you may wind up recruiting them again. You may have another shot, whether that's as a potential flip candidate or in the transfer portal. Is that something that you have to talk to your coaches about and say, hey, make sure we end things on the right note with these guys, even if they tell us no?
Well, our staff is a group of individuals that care about developing young men, and are relationship driven. So that's who they are. If I remind them or not, they're professional. They handle themselves the right way. But I do think it's important because there are going to be opportunities to recruit some of these guys again, based on kind of what the landscape of college football is right now.
So when you get off the road, Dan Lanning told us he gained 9 pounds in just basically in-home visits. Is it a detox when you finally get home for that dead period?
Man, I'm ready to go to sleep at some point. I feel like it's been a long, I don't know what it is, 3 weeks since we played last. Flying all over the country, having an opportunity to get in a lot of these recruits' houses. I certainly need the sleep, and I'll take a detox too at this point.
Well, the college football calendar doesn't give you any breaks, though, because you still have to figure out how to score on the Iowa defense. So good luck with that, Josh. I appreciate it.
The Iowa defense is legit, but we're looking forward to getting down there into to Orlando and getting an opportunity to go compete. I was in Orlando for a period of 3 years too, so former players got an opportunity to get together with a bunch of those guys too.
Attention 407, the Vols are coming.
That's right.
Thank you so much for watching. Just a reminder, subscribe to this channel right here so you never miss an episode of Andy Staples on 3. And oh, by the way, watch all the other great videos on the On3 Sports YouTube channel.